Hi, I'm Riky. This is a Nova Scotia garden, and I thought I'd do a garden tour with you today. And if you're here to see the garden, you don't want to see me. So let's get you turned around. We'll go start out front and show you what's going on around here. There's not a lot going on in the front yard. I've only got one bed and 3 pots and a hibiscus. So in this bed, I like to mix it up every year. I like to try something new. And this year I tried a whole bunch of glads with super petunias and sweet potato vine and cannas. The glads have all been eaten by thrips. I had no idea what was going on. I thought it was something to do with all the heat wave stress that they've been going through, and I had no idea that it was thrips until just a couple of days ago. Right, if you don't know what thrips are, that is thrips. Nasty little buggers. It wasn't just the glads in this bed, it was the glads all around my garden in the back as well. The petunias in this bed are actually, when I gave my petunias up front a haircut, I just took some clippings and stuck them in the ground and they took. And then these I think are super petunia velvets. Not all that happy with them. I'm really happy with my super petunia bubblegums though. And the sweet potato vines are, I find slow. I think everything is actually really slow right now. Maybe it's because of the heat wave stress we've been having. We haven't had any rain. I think we had rain once, July 20th. Because when it rains, I film it. It's finally raining outside. I'm so excited that it's raining. We haven't had rain in weeks. And today, new restrictions have come into place. We're not allowed to go in the woods. No hiking, no fishing, no camping. We're not allowed to walk on our trails. It's pretty serious. They're definitely worried about wildfires right now, as they should be. Okay, it's unbelievable. I've been watering my lawn, and actually I left the hose out because I'm going to come and do a water again. I do it once a week. Oh, let me get my shadow out of the way. You don't need to see that. Unnecessary. Okay, this is a Holy Grail hibiscus by Proven Winners. She's amazing. She has dinner plate blooms, and I won't see any blooms probably for the next month, but you can see it's starting. I'm very excited. This thing is a showstopper. People will actually pull in my yard and ask me what this is. That's a Nova Scotia way. Hey, I don't know you, but hey, can you tell me about that? This is a super petunia bubblegum. That's just one plant. And I've never tried cannas before in my pots here, so I'm really happy with them. They're doing great. I don't like how, oh, look at, there's a nasty bug in there. He's munching. You see that? That's okay, buddy. You do you. In below, I've got lobelia, and I've never tried lobelia before, and I'm not actually certain that I'm ever going to try it again. Oh, it's a bee. Oh yeah, you have fun. You have fun. So I'm really happy with how the cannas are turning out. I think that looks really good. And the lobelia I'm not really happy with, and the super petunias I'm really happy with. The grass isn't in the best state. And this is Nova Scotia. We usually get a lot of rain. Like, I didn't have to worry about drip lines or anything like that before. Now I do. This is a row of bloomerang lilacs, also by Proven Winners. They were supposed to rebloom, and they haven't. Last year they rebloomed a little bit, like sporadic blooms, and this year nothing. I think it has something to do with the moisture that we're not getting. Probably in a month's time, when hurricane season really starts to kick up, we're going to get pounded with rain, and I'm going to be like, oh no, there's nothing but rain. In the spring, this iris wall looks amazing. And now they're all starting to turn brown, so I'm going to cut them all out. I had glads in this bed, but oh look, you can still see thrips on there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Nasty. Isn't it infuriating when something just eats your plants? Anyway, so I've got some portulaca in here. And it's been in all summer and it's just barely growing. I expected it to really take over this bed. I had it in here last year and it looked really good. But it's not really performing like I expected it to. The lobelia and the alyssum have been nothing but shameful this year. They're just getting cooked. It's been way too hot for them. And this is a lupin that I cut back and it was shading this hydrangea. There's a cluster of 3 here. And the first one, this one here, was actually it was taken, what am I trying to say? It was stunted in growth because of how big this lupin had got. So I cut the lupin back and it's flushing back, as you can see. These macrophylla hydrangeas I bought from a superstore. I think I bought them from a grocery store. I know I did, and they were like $6 each. And I remember the cashier telling me, "Oh, those are the kind of hydrangeas you just throw away." And I was like, there's no kind of hydrangeas that you throw away. And then over here is my very first garden bed that I ever started. And I had irises in here as well with alyssum. And again, bad alyssum. Well, bad season. So I've got a lot of repeat stuff in this garden. But let me take you around and I'll show you what's going on with my hydrangea. So this hydrangea, the one rainstorm that we had, got beaten down. I couldn't be more sad. I even supported it in the center, and actually the support failed me. It looked absolutely horrible. So I had to come in. It's got supports in there, you can see, all the way up. But I had to come in and tie it up. So it's looking pretty good right now. And it's gotten pretty big over the years. Actually, this spring I was going to come in and I was going to divide this grass. And I didn't, and I have regrets. I should have done that. Because I could take probably a good half clump of it and move it to somewhere else in the bed. But actually I have a little bit of a confession. We're probably moving next year. My husband's in the military and he's expecting a posting message. So I think this is my last year in this garden. Again, the lobelia here looks absolutely horrid. Just doesn't like its life. I don't know if I could give it a clipping. Maybe it would come back. I'm expecting August not to be so hot, but you never know. Something weird going on this year. These lilies are amazing. They smell amazing. I can't get too close because actually they set off my immune system. But I had a red beetle on them ever since they emerged. It's been doing a little bit damage to all of the leaves, so I was really worried about the blooms, but they seem to be absolutely fine. Look at how gorgeous that is. This euchre I think is doing great because it gets so shaded by the other plants. And same with this one. So this one actually put on its bloom stalks probably a month ago. And this one's just doing its bloom stalks now. Again, more thrip damage. You can see that brown in the leaf. That's not supposed to happen. Oh my goodness. My wave petunias have been absolutely awful this year. I expected them to be double the size by now, and they have been so slow growing. A few of them I've actually taken out of the ground, and they had hardly any root systems on them. Don't understand what's going on. These were hot red pokers. They looked great. I wish the blooms lasted a little bit longer on them. Again, a couple of cuttings from my bubblegum petunia that I just stuck here. It looks like there's maybe a thrip on there. Haircut, put it in the ground and it grew. Weird. And this is, I forget. I've never grown it before. I've got it in lantana. No, verbena. Verbena. And then I have zinnias that are, you can see they're putting on some growth. They're starting to look pretty good. In a month, they'll probably be really bushy. I had, I think, 30 or 40 zinnias eaten by earwigs when I first put them in the ground. So I had to regrow these in trays on my deck. And they did great, actually. And then I stuck them in the ground probably, I think, 2 weeks ago now. This is a liatris. This was purchased by Bulb at the dollar store, actually. I wanted to see what they would do. And a macrophylla hydrangea. It's doing great this year. My entire garden was eaten back by, especially the lilies, by deer last year. This patch of lilies and this patch of hydrangea just looked absolutely horrible. The deer were well fed last year. This sumac tree came in by a bird, I'm pretty sure, because there's no sumacs around here anywhere. There's some like down on the trail, but that's quite a ways away from here. So I let it grow on to see what it would do, because I know they turn fiery red in the fall. And this is its second year of life, and I can't get over how much it's grown. It was a tiny little speck of nothing last year. This is an aster, and it will bloom in the fall. It's doubled in size since last year. And my lavender, so this bunch of lavender is, I think, 2 or 3 plants together. And this is what, like, I bought them all at the same time, and they should all be about that size, but I grouped a bunch together to see what they look like, and that looks way better, doesn't it? I think so. This macrophylla hydrangea is absolutely gorgeous. I love her. I didn't get to see her blooms last year because of the deer. It's been doing great, and it gets a lot of sun. The blooms started probably a month and a half ago, and so you can see that this one's already on its way out. It does wilt in the heat, in the hot sun, almost all day, but it perks up in the evenings. And, you know, hydrangeas got the word hydra in the name, so I figured they can handle a lot more water, and I usually give it like 1 inch of water a day. That one and that one. In this bed, I tried to be a little bit more cognizant of what my neighbors see, because on the inside over there, that's my view. But last year I noticed they didn't have any interest over here. So I tried to go with the vinca, which did great last year in my front bed. But this year, they have been no good. And I just got some strawberries and some iris and a couple of daylilies in here. This peony was no good this year either. I should do a garden tour of just fails this year. These are blueberries, and it's surprising to me that it's putting on its fall color, but that's okay. It's, you know, August. There are some blueberries right here. Usually we don't get to eat them because the birds get to them before we do. This second sumac here, this little one, this one actually came in this season. And look how much it's grown in one season. This is incredible. Now, I don't know if we move next year, probably around this time, I might take some hydrangeas with me. I'm not sure. Depends on where we go. This is my gladiola mess. I started tearing them out this morning, and I thought, well, I should do a garden tour and show you, if I can, what thrips look like. I did take some video yesterday, but I'm not confident with washing off the bulbs and keeping them and redoing them. We're moving next year anyway, so let me just see. But look at what they do. So they suck the sap out of the leaves, and by the time the blooms start to bloom, they actually look like they're dead buds on the glad. It's the weirdest looking thing. Anyways, I gotta clean that up. I've got some phlox in here. I had phlox in here last year and I moved it and I thought I got it all, but apparently I did not. And then some cosmos that I thought would get big and bushy. I don't understand. I've never grown a cosmo before. Is this what they're supposed to look like? And look at these ones. Like, I put this in June. I started this from seed. This is coneflowers, and that's as big as they got all season. Very disappointing. It's a Japanese willow. And I just cut it back. It just got a big haircut. Trying to train it into a ball. This hydrangea is from the mother plant that we just saw. I had some old roots, threw them away, and this is where they landed when I threw them away. And it grew this big, beautiful bush. Because I'm a new gardener, I don't really know what I'm doing. And here is a beautiful rose. It's a China rose, but it always gets disease on it every year. I'm not really sure what these black spots are. And the blooms look great, but I just cut it back. This bed didn't go in at the same time as the other bed. This was an afterthought. I think I put this in 2 years ago. And you can see I'm watering right now. I walked on this bed last night and it felt like walking on concrete. Now my soil here is completely sandy. And as a new gardener, I really didn't understand that I really needed to add a lot of compost and amendments to this bed. So I was just like, well, let's stick it in the ground and hope for the best and see what happens. So the hydrangeas are doing okay. This one's a little bit funny. It got eaten back by deer last year, so I think that's why it's blooming on the bottom and not the top this year. It's really strange. Let's get out of the water. I just bought some lemon coral sedum and look how awful it looks right now. I am expecting it to perk up, but it was at a garden center on sale for $2, so I picked up a bunch of them. The cannas I have spread out in this bed all over the place, and I've had 3 of them die so far. So all the ones that are on this side are doing great. All the ones on the opposite side are not doing so well. So I did expect to have zinnias and cosmos fill up a lot of the negative space in this bed, and they're just spindly looking. Like, look at this one here. I gotta come and deadhead this guy, but not very bushy. Same with those cosmos. I don't know. I even threw in, look, a tomato plant. I got a tomato. So you can see how sparse everything looks in this bed. I'm not happy with it. And this hollyhock, completely eaten by something. Oh, it's sad. Part of me is glad to be leaving and moving on and starting new. I've learned a lot from this garden. I definitely will be paying more attention to the soil I put into a new garden when we move. And I'm not sure I'll even grow a lot of the same things. I definitely won't be buying any more wave petunias. I've actually, you know what, I can't say that. The wave petunias I bought before have done great for about 2 months in a pot. And that's it. So in the ground, they're no good. I also thought that by now a lot of the sweet potato vine would be filling up a lot of the space, and that hasn't been the case either. I'm just gonna blame it on the weather. I don't know. All the lupins I had in here I cut back except for this one. And I did have this geranium that was encircling this area here. Sorry, like that. And I cut it back about a month ago, and it's all flushing back. It looks great. It's even starting to put on some blooms. I really don't like using the sprinkler, but it's necessary. I don't like to overhead water and get leaves wet. I like to water their roots and not the leaves to avoid fungal diseases and things like that. But in this case, I've had to water. It's just been too dry and hot. So my idea for Morning Glory to grow up my laundry pole has failed. And this below, these little flowers, are dwarf Morning Glory. And all around the base of the pole is all regular Morning Glory. So it should be like climbing, but nothing's happening. Our woodpile has an adorable little chipmunk pair that plays in here. I'm surprised they're not out right now, actually. Normally they come out when the water goes on, and they're just the cutest. Actually, that one stump over here, you can see they do stuff in here, and they made a little nest, maybe, I don't know, but they come in here and rub themselves on it. It's the most adorable little entertainment. Over here, I just got a smattering of things. I've taken some cuttings on my euonymus. Actually, let me show you that. So over here, I've got this euonymus. I got it from a cutting from my neighbor. And when it puts on some growth, I just take the cuttings and I stick them in the ground like that. And they grow, like this one. Everything is doing really good. So this year, every time I took a cutting, I just kept sticking them in the ground. I don't think this one took. No, maybe not this one either. No, but they will. Oh, you can see a bunch of dead ones. Whatever. That's okay. This is a volunteer sunflower. I don't know where it came from. It had to have come from a bird. This is the lilac that doesn't get enough sun. I shouldn't have planted it here. Another garden fail. Mm-hmm. This hydrangea is doing great. Look at all the blooms on it. I do have my deer game under control. So what I do every night is I put a podcast on my deck and I let it blare. And then the deer think that there's somebody sitting on my deck and they don't come in my yard at all. That's why I have no deer damage this year. This is a smattering of sweet peas and morning glory. And they're just starting to put on some tendrils now. And then behind it, I've got tomatoes. Got one there. One there with a tomato on it. And then some ornamental kale. Cherry tomatoes. Look at, they're doing all right here. My neighbor told me that the guy who owned this house before us used to grow his tomatoes here, so I thought I would give it a try. The rhubarb is not doing too good over there. Don't look. Don't look. These are something called Lavatera, and I planted them last year. Sorry, I planted them from seed this year, but I did grow them last year as well. And last year they were double the size and putting on flowers by now. Not this year. I consider this my shade garden actually. It gets morning sun, afternoon shade. And I put in, is this lamium? And it hasn't grown at all. That's about how big it came out of the container. And all of these cosmos, I think, aren't getting enough sun, so they're not doing very well. I've got sweet potato vine in here and a lot of hostas. more vinca, which is the little white flower, and dianthus is the pink flower. And then some impatiens, just white impatiens. It's like a green-white bed. It's got ferns in it. There's a yew in here. There's 2 yews in here, actually. Oh, look at that cute little thing growing in there. All right, sorry, that was a little fast, wasn't it? So over here, I've got a couple of pots with Super Tunia bubblegums. And then here I have hydrangeas. These are Invincible Spirit 2. They were eaten by deer last year in my front yard. So I tore them out and I put them back here. Sweet potato vines I've got in pots. I like to, once they've got some size on them, I could probably go and put them around in the garden beds. That's what I like to do. And it seems like there's more height in the garden. Be living his best life. In front of the deck, this year, I've done something a little different, actually. I didn't plant any of these glads. These glads were all here from last year, and they've come up again, which I didn't expect to happen, actually. So I put in wave petunias, Dusty Miller, Creepin' Jenny. I didn't buy this year. It came in from last year. I had it hanging in a pot right there. And it just overwintered and came back. And look at how it's filled in. So I've let it. Got cosmos and zinnias in here with impatiens and geraniums. More lobelia. And then cosmos. And then this is cinquefoil. And I just let it grow on to see what it would do. I kind of like the leaf shape. I've got a morning glory that's doing great over here. This is my equivalent to a hose link in America. The Diachondra Silver Falls is shameful this year. It should be way bigger than it is. I don't know what's going on. It's because I started YouTube, right? It's because I started YouTube and wanted to show off my garden, because last year it looked really great and this year it looks really poopy. These are dahlias. Oh, isn't that pretty? I've never grown an annual hibiscus before, so I thought I'd give that a try. And a rosemary. Oh, here's the lemon coral sedum that I bought that was on clearance at my Home Depot. It does look pretty sad, but I know that if I cut all that off, it'll flush right back. This is lemon coral sedum and portulaca. This is the fertilizer that I use. These are petunias that I tore out of the ground to check their root system, and they were doing awful. So I planted them up and they're doing much better. This is a $12 hydrangea that I picked up at my local garden center. Where did I pick it up? Superstore. It was on clearance for 12 bucks. And I didn't know what kind of hydrangea it was, but I knew it was a hydrangea and I wanted it. So it turns out that I think I'm going to go with limelight. I think it's limelight. I don't know. Basil, petunias with junket grass, and another smattering of wave petunias and lemon coral sedum. So I just took clippings of all my lemon coral sedum and I put it in here, and they're all doing really good. Now, this time last year, I think they were doing way better because I did it last year too, and it filled in this entire area. So another month from now, probably won't see a lot of the soil there. But the pink is, the tall pink is the phlox, and in the centers, well, I've got gladiolas. These are the only ones I planted this year. All the other ones have come up from last year. None of them are doing good. I'm very, very sad. This fern, I had dug all the ferns, I thought, out of here and put them over there. And they just keep coming back. Now by this time every year, they're burnt. So in the fall, I'll dig them out again and I'll go and put them over there. This is a lantana that looked horrible at a nursery on clearance. I picked it up. It had no color on it at all. I've never grown it before. Stuck it in here. It's doing great. Some geraniums on this side and some begonias here. And the more lemon coral seed mixed with some portulaca. And this is a calibrachoa that's been doing beautifully. I dropped it, broke half of it, but it bounced right back. It's fine. More lemon coral sedum. Look at that. I love this stuff. I love it. You can overwinter that in the house. Just take a couple cuttings. Like, just take something like that off. Take some of the leaves off. Stick it in soil and it'll be fine. It's probably, I'm going to say 9:30 in the morning. So I'll let these guys get some sun for the next couple of hours. And then I'll open up my umbrella to shade things here. Not so much for the geraniums or the calibrachoa or the sedum, but for these. This oxalis is looking beautiful, and I'll probably overwinter that this year. And same with these ferns. When I got them, they were just so tiny. And that's that. That is my garden.